Africa's most prestigious soccer showpiece, the 30th edition of the Confederation of African Football 2015 kicks off in Equatorial Guinea tomorrow and will go until the 10th of February. The tiny Central African nation had only 2 months to prepare after Morocco was stripped of hosting rights following fears of the spread of Ebola there. CAF wants all delegations, teams and players entering the country to travel through the capital, Malabo, and be tested for the Ebola virus as a precautionary measure. The 16-team tournament will be played in 4 cities, including the capital and the largest city, Bata. Although there are no clear favourites for this year, Algeria, Ivory Coast and Ghana are regarded as teams to watch. Bafana Bafana under coach Ephraim Mashaba can also feel confident after 10 matches without defeat. Now, South Africa kicks off their tournament against Africa's top-ranked side, Algeria, on Monday. But the focus for now falls on the official opening ceremony and the first match of the tournament tomorrow. Now, soccer analyst on SABC Sport, Christopher de Bongo, former professional, and Nigerian journalist Solomon Izang Ashoms joins us in studio this morning. Very good morning to you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Morning.
Christophe, let me start with you. Tell us a little bit about Equatorial Guinea. I understand this is the only African country that they speak Spanish in. Is that accurate?
Actually, it is, yes. I was in Equatorial Guinea just from the 12th until the 17th. I had a 5-day visit with the FIFA delegation, and I've been there before when South Africa played against Equatorial Guinea earlier on. It is a very small country. People don't understand. Equatorial Guinea is divided into 3 parts. There are 2 parts which are islands, and then you have the inland. The inland is bordered with Gabon. Malabo, the capital, it is an island. So when you go to Malabo, you have to take a ferry for you to cross to go to Bata. And from Bata, travel around 1 hour and 30 minutes for you to reach Mongomo, where South African team will be. So that is the country itself. It is a very small country. The population, it estimated around 700,000 people. The GDP is great, grew by 5,000% since they found the petrol. And it is an equatorial country. It is hot and humid, and luckily for South Africa, most of the game will be played at night.
That is a big plus for South Africa, but have you been impressed with South Africa under Sheikh Mashaba over the last couple of months?
Yes, I think so. You know, Bafana Bafana and Sheikh Mashaba has been going on now for 10 games undefeated. And before then, there was just a whole lot of shambles in Bafana Bafana. The last time Bafana Bafana actually qualified for a major tournament, we're talking about 2012. You know, when Equatorial Guinea again and Gabon hosted the championship. But we've seen a transformation. We've seen Bafana Bafana bringing in youngsters. It's not the big names that we have. A lot of them are actually, this is going to be their first major tournament. Yeah. So definitely, Sheikh Mashaba is on the right course.
Christophe, now the opening ceremony is tomorrow. What's your expectation then? Equatorial Guinea are thereafter playing against your, let's call it your former nation, the Congo.
Well, I'm from the DRC, Congo Kinshasa, and they're playing against Congo Brazzaville. Let's talk about this tournament. It will be a good tournament, but it won't be a great event. 2 weeks or 2 months to organize a tournament is very, very difficult. Let's go the statistic and give the numbers.
Even if you have all the money that they have now?
That is the problem. For you to organize a minimum African Cup of Nations, we saw it in 2010 when we went to Angola, you need minimum 2,500 hotel beds.
Yeah.
At the moment, Equatorial Guinea is counting around 850. Why you need 2,500 beds is because you have the national teams themselves, delegation of 30 people, you have the CAF officials, you have the sponsors, you have the broadcasters. We're not even talking about the supporters. Yeah. And when you put those numbers together, you come around 1,800 hotel beds, which they don't have. Not because they don't have the money, because they did not prepare themselves needing it at this moment. They're not a touristic country. They're a business country, so they don't need those hotels. So we will have a good tournament. We do not expect a great event.
A spectacular one.
A spectacular one. But the game itself, the football itself, it will be there because people want to win. So the first game, Equatorial Guinea playing against Congo, you look at that game, it is a country expectation versus a country that want to get something, which is Congo Brazzaville. Many players, they play in France and Belgium, they came back, and the coach, Claude Leroy, the only coach, by the way, to qualify over 8 teams in Africa, coaching them, they will be a force to reckon. So I'm seeing in that game a very disappointing loss for the host city, the host country.
Thank you very much for putting a damper on proceedings, Christoph. The president of Equatorial Guinea has bought 40-odd thousand tickets, I think, for people around the city to go to the matches. How do you view that?
I feel, it's just trying to encourage the population, the citizens, to go out and support football. This is a championship that happens once in a while. And again, Equatorial Guinea is a very small country. I mean, we're talking about just a little over 500,000 people. Yeah. And definitely, it's a way to encourage them. And we know that Equatorial Guinea itself, the leaders, there's a bit of political problems. The opposition is saying, look, hey, we have to protest against the hosting of this tournament because obviously there's a bit of poverty that the money should go in there. Yeah. But to get tickets and to pay and to give, I hope they're going to be able to give like school kids and people that would be able to go and inspire themselves just watching the games.
Yeah, it's always a fantastic occasion for people of a country hosting an event. We had that wonderful experience here in South Africa. But Christoph, let's talk about Ebola. Yes. The threat of Ebola is very real this time around. The precautions in place, is that enough, good enough? And the politics around Morocco?
You see, my take of the Ebola situation is very simple. The African Cup of Nations takes place and everything goes fine. CAF will become as a hero. Everybody's going to say how great CAF is, how good this to take place. If something bad happened, they will say, CAF, you are big-headed, you're supposed to do it. Let's go back what happened. President Theodore, before even announcing the African Cup of Nations, he already spent over $2 million US to make sure that his country was quarantined. Yeah. So because there's a small population, if anything happened, it is a big disaster. So he did put a lot of money without African Cup of Nations. Yeah. The moment he accepted, because he was not asked, he asked CAF that I will help you. Yeah. The moment that was done, he spent more money of putting that the precaution together. But your question, is it enough? We'll never know what is enough because it just needs one breakthrough and something happens. So we hope everything will go fine, but no country in the world will say they've got enough precaution for Ebola not to happen. So it's not an African problem.
And we also have to look at that Guinea is the only country that is Ebola infested coming into this tournament. Yeah. So maybe because of that situation, you're not going to get a lot of fans and football officials from
there won't be a lot of traveling happening, I think. I think people are a little bit scared of what's going on. But let's get back to the football. Let's talk about the groups. Let's talk about Group C first, where Bafana Bafana is playing. It will be a tough group with a #1 ranked African country in there as well. And tell me about your pick of the player to watch in Bafana Bafana side. I'm picking Andile Jali. This is of course the group. Yeah. Andile Jali, I think he plays a lot like an old school German libero these days. Yes. Very strong in the middle, but not scared to get up the park. I'm sure they don't allow him that in Europe.
No, they don't allow that in Europe. You take the ball and give it away immediately. Listen, there are two positions for me. I'm looking at South Africa, Bafana Bafana, playing against a team like Algeria. But let's look at Andile Jali. Why Andile Jali is an important player? He is the link between the defensive midfield and the defenders and the attacking teams. So the way that Sheikh Mashaba has been playing him, he's playing next to Ephraim, who can't pass the ball. Yeah. So we will get the ball immediately from the defender, run with it because of his attitude, because of his body language, and get at the ball quickly going forward. We have been told that Bafana play very slow in the first half and they go on quick in the second half. The only time South Africa looks good is when they pass the ball quicker and they move. So that's what Andile Jali will be expected to do.
Yeah, they play very well off turnover possession. I watched them against Mali, even against Mali. What I saw was that they were prepared to give them a ball a little bit. You play with the ball, they take it off, and then they hit them. And that's, I suppose, what Sheikh Mashaba brings to this team.
Definitely. There's a lot of discipline also. This is a Bafana team. For the first time, we're seeing a team that's not playing based on just individual strengths, but we're seeing a team that's a lot of unity. I want to equate them like the Algerian team. The strength of the Algerian team is basically their unity, and not just individual players, just like we know across the African continent. And that's just going to be it. Andile Jali is going to be right in the middle of the pack. He's gotten a bit of experience playing in Belgium. Now he's here. You can alternate him him not just as a defensive midfielder, but you can, make him the holding midfielder. So that's really great for him. And, watching him play against Mali, I think is really great. The last time they played against Nigeria in Cape Town, for me, he was like the key person. So definitely he's going to be a man to watch.
No, I think he's really matured. But let's talk about your pick. My pick for player of the tournament. I'm picking Yaya Toure. I think Cote d'Ivoire in Group D. Unlike what you've been saying,
the whole tournament.
The whole tournament.
No, very, very difficult.
Very difficult for Yaya Toure to be player of the tournament.
If you pick up a player now to be a player of the tournament, you'll be disappointed, Heaven, because there is no guarantee that Cote d'Ivoire will get out of the group anyway.
There's a guarantee, I think, for Cote d'Ivoire to get out of that group.
So,
though Cameroon is there.
Let's not get tribal here today, Christophe.
No, it is a guarantee. I mean, Nigeria is supposed to be in Equatorial Guinea, and they were not there. So
let's have a look at the group. You say the group that they're in is so tough. Yes, Mali's a good side, all European-based players. Cameroon
trashed Cote d'Ivoire in both games during the qualifier. The Cameroon team is still the same team, very, very strong. I'm seeing them in this group. Mali that you saw playing against South Africa in warm-up games, it is not the same Mali you will see in African Cup of Nations that is starting tomorrow. Mali and Cameroon are getting out of that group without trouble.
Christophe knows something that we obviously don't know. Yes. So we're going to hold Christophe to account next week when Mali gets thrashed 3-0 by Cote d'Ivoire. Okay. But your final remarks.
I think definitely in that group there's going to be Ivory Coast coming out of that group. There's going to be Cameroon coming out of that group. Cameroon is a young team and they're a bit inexperienced, so it's really going to be difficult for them. But for me, the whole tournament is really great. It's good to see that, instead of postponing the tournament is coming together, and we're going to see surprises. We hope that the big names are going to be able to come on board, and also teams that we saw 2 years ago, like Cape Verde, they're going to be able to come and really show us something different, and it's going to be great for African football.
I was impressed by Cape Verde, actually.
Each time we expect a big name to come, nothing happened.
Happened.
We have been waiting since 2010 in Angola
Christophe, you've become a cynical journalist.
For Ghana to do something.
This is the time for Ghana. This is the time for Cameroon. Not Cameroon. This is the time for Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, because this is the last
time for the golden generation.
The team that will win African Cup of Nations 2015 is a team that has not yet won it.
Before.
Okay, Christophe, wise words there. Thank you very much for joining us today. Christophe says a team that's never won it. That means he puts Bafana Bafana out of the equation as well. I'm going to speak to the Minister of Home Affairs about your residency here, Christophe. Thank you to these wonderful gentlemen for joining us today. That's Nigerian journalist Solomon Izang Ashoms and Christophe de Bongo, a man who needs no introduction. Yeah, I worked with Christophe for many years, and it's always been an absolute treat to have you. Thank you, Christophe.
Thank you.